Hi, I'm Debbie Howard, Chairman of the Carter Group and co-founder of the Living Best Professional Community. Today, we'll be hearing from Mel Barsky. Mel Barsky is Director of Business Development for the Center of Aging and Brain Health Innovation, known as CABHI for short. CABHI is a solution accelerator for the aging and brain health sector and provides funding and support to innovators for the development, testing, and dissemination of new ideas and technologies that address unmet brain health and seniors' care needs. Established in 2015, it is the result of the largest investment in brain health and aging in Canadian history. CABHI is a unique collaboration of healthcare, science, industry, not-for-profit, and government partners whose aim is to help improve quality of life for the world's aging population, allowing older adults to age safely in the setting of their choice while maintaining their cognitive, emotional, and physical well-being. Our thanks to Mel Barsky for being with us.
So my organization, CABHI, the Center for Aging and Brain Health Innovation, was founded about 8 years ago with support of the Canadian federal government and the province of Ontario's government, and some corporate partners and also donors to our Baycrest Foundation, which I'll explain about in a minute. At the time when it was created, it was to make the largest investment in brain health and aging in Canadian history, to advance novel age tech solutions. So CABHI's initial focus was to provide non-dilutive grant-like funding to researchers, clinicians, private companies to validate and scale the solutions that they might be working on. To date, CABHI has funded over 400 such projects to the tune of over $160 million. CABHI has evolved its programs, including to help address the gap in the lack of venture programs. And to address this, CABHI has created what we call our Mentorship Capital and Continuation, MC squared is our acronym for it, because we put an acronym to everything. So we created our MC squared program in partnership with National Bank in Canada, which has grown to become the most active age tech investor in North America. CABHI has made over 45 equity investments to date over the last few years, with a portfolio enterprise value of over $1 billion. CABHI's acceleration services and investment programs make us North America's most active angel and pre-seed age tech investor. So to be more specific to your question about our ecosystem, it includes, I'll start locally with Baycrest Health Sciences. This is kind of our parent organization, if you will. We sit on campus with Baycrest Health Sciences here in Toronto. And Baycrest is a 105-year-old institution with expertise and global recognition as a leader in geriatric care and research. We also sit on campus with one of the world's top research institutes in cognitive neuroscience, the Baycrest Academy, also known as the Rotman Research Institute. In fact, the head of the Rotman Research Institute is also the head of CABHI. So it really shows how synergistically we work together. And she's our chief scientific officer. So heading up both organizations helps us collaborate incredibly well. Internationally, our ecosystem includes our deal flow network of well over 100 partners from leading accelerators such as Techstars, 500 startups, and the like. It includes members of academia, healthcare organizations, distribution partners, procurement providers. We also have a trial site network. So we can trial things right on campus at Baycrest, which is fantastic with having long-term care and hospital right on site at Baycrest and about 1,800 residents. But we also can trial at one of our network partners of over 150 trial site partners or institutions that will help with clinical validation, with paid trials, product development, and even customer acquisition. Also in our in our international ecosystem, we have our coaches community of over 150 expert advisors from around the globe that can help the companies in our portfolio to help advance different aspects of their business. We also have over 100 venture partners who can provide deal flow, co-investment, investing alongside with us, and also follow-on capital for our portfolio companies. And I think lastly, we have what we call our LEAP platform. Loosely, this was going to be an acronym to stand for Lived Experience Advisory Panel, but we just call it LEAP. And that's a platform really meant for end users, largely older adults, to collaborate together, to conduct focus groups for our portfolio companies, and to help our innovators to advance their business and give them the voice and the thoughts of the actual end user, which we think is critical and a very important aspect of the whole development cycle. So that really, I think, encompasses what CABHI's ecosystem is all about. Well, I think to answer the question, let's start on a global perspective and then maybe narrow it down to Canada. I think we need to acknowledge that the global neurotech market size was valued at $11 billion in 2021, and it's projected to reach $34 billion by 2030. So there's obviously a huge need to address this growing population segment, and the trends will be those leading neurotech products to assist this population and the caregivers for this population. So I believe the future will hold amazing technologies such as human brain to computer interfaces that enable direct communication between brain and devices that have applications in healthcare, assistive technology, and for other purposes. I think you're going to see neurofeedback technologies will be dominant as they'll provide real-time feedback on brain activity and to be used in such aspects as mental health or for cognitive enhancement. Everybody is talking about artificial intelligence these days, so a huge buzzword. My kids tell me that the exact type of intelligence that I have is an artificial type of intelligence. But the advancement in AI and machine learning is truly a major trend for enhancing the interpretation of brain data, leading to more precise diagnostic tools, treatment options, such as drug therapies. I think we need to be very cautious that every company out there claims to be using artificial intelligence these days, and we need to separate those from companies that really harness the use of today's more powerful computers. An example of a company originally from Israel, but now we have brought to Canada, called ReadySpec. This is one of our portfolio companies that non-invasively looks for amyloid deposits on the back of your retina as a proxy to determine your likelihood of developing dementia, maybe 10 years or more in the future. And I think that's an interesting use of the algorithms and the AI that they truly incorporate to do that would be a great example. I think other trends you'll find is, one that has been growing and I think will continue to grow is wearable neurotech. Those sensors that you can wear, more so, the Apple Watch is an obvious one, but there's a lot of other types of devices that are growing and continue to gain popularity and offer real-time monitoring and of the new field of being able to monitor brain health and cognitive performance. One of our companies here in Canada called Interaxon has a product called Muse. And that's a smart headband that you'll wear that has EEG sensors built into it that acts to monitor your personal meditation or allows a personal meditation coach to provide real-time feedback on your brain activity and help you with such things as meditation. And also they have a product device that helps with sleep, also very important. Other trends, you'll see telehealth has really taken off, unfortunately from the result of the pandemic. But I think a good thing out of this horrible period of time of the pandemic is that telehealth integration continues to accelerate and can include, neurotech consults, mental health counseling and therapy, and allows us to reach people in remote areas, a very important thing in Canada, as we are such a largely spread country geographically. So allows us to reach people wherever they may be, or in cold Canadian winters, for example, so you don't have to go to your healthcare institute. You can do those things in the comfort of your own home. But I don't think that just applies to Canada. I think that's something that can apply globally. And maybe another trend that's we've seen lots of companies in this area, but there continues to be a lot of development, is in falls detection and prevention. 1 in 4 North Americans will experience a fall in their lifetime, in their older years. And falls are the leading issue that results into hospital stays, increased need for caregivers, and also even leading to death. So preventing one fall can have a huge downstream health impact and savings and cost savings. More important, I think, the improvement in health impact. But falls detection continues to play an important role in managing senior care. So I would say those would be some of my big areas, trend areas that we like to watch. That's what we try to do at CABHI, being an accelerator. That's exactly our mandate. There's a number of issues that impact the speed of time from the bench to the bedside, as we say, the research bench to actual use at the bedside or in the home or wherever. Some of these are I would categorize as regulatory hurdles. The development and approval of neurotechnology products can be slowed by complex and evolving regulatory frameworks, which might be different from country to country or sector to sector. But that's something that, whether it's government or other agencies, that we hope can help speed those things up, and we as agents in this industry can help push those political decisions to help improve that speed of approvals. Another thing that kind of slows down that period of time from development onwards is the ethical and privacy concerns that come with this increase in innovation. The collection and use of brain health data, personal health data, raises ethical and privacy issues that really need to be addressed. So we need to think about those, and not just think about those, but act on how we can work on these things. I would say the research and development in neurotech, or age tech as we focus on at CABHI, can really be quite capital intensive and therefore require substantial investments. So that's why I said with CABHI, with things like our MC² program, it stands for exactly that. It's mentorship, capital, and continuation. So companies do need money to help these things spur along, but more than that, if you can provide strategic money, strategic capital, which is what we try to do, and all the resources and acceleration tools that go alongside with it, really help speed the time from market access to uptake. There's also, many or most healthcare institutions at all times are tight with their budgets and therefore slow to adopt a new technology until it is tried and tested and validated by other leading healthcare providers. So that's another thing we've tried to do at CABHI, being on site with Baycrest and having the Robin research scientists alongside with us. That goal is to validate solutions, to test them, whether it be on our own population base, on our own campus at Baycrest, or with our trial site partners around the world, so that there's a model out there for people to say, yes, it's been tried, it's been used at Baycrest, it's been used at another institution successfully with a return on investment, both in terms of improved health outcomes and a financial ROI. Therefore, it makes sense for someone else to more easily adopt it. So we try to do things like that to help speed up that procurement process. We even have a new program at CABHI called DNA, Discovery and Adopt. And the whole purpose of that is to allow a healthcare institution to really drive and tell us to say, here's our problem, here's our need, that we would love to see this solution to solve this problem. Then we put out a call for innovation, for innovators to help solve that problem. And then we implement and provide resources to help implement that solution at that trial site location who has identified the problem they have. And only then, after it's tried, proven to improve health outcomes, then we'll ask that health institution to commit up front to continue to procure that solution because it did have a positive health outcome and a positive ROI. So I think these are all some of the major items to help speed time from development that CABHI works to address, again, with our acceleration services, access to our scientific officers who can do everything from designing a clinical study to running that validation study, our venture services, and all of our other acceleration services, both at CABHI and through our network of global partners. I should know that exact number as the Director of Business Development, but let me say that our last annual summit, we had over 1,600 people attend from 30 countries, from 32 countries around the world. Wow. So we encourage everybody to attend our virtual summit. We used to do it in person before COVID. We do other in-person events now, but we decided to keep this one virtual event because of the ease of access for our global network of partners. And we do that March every year. I think it's March 27th, 2024 is the next one. Go to cabhi.com/summit for a selfless plug to attend that. But in terms of our partnerships also, we do a lot of work. I'll say the heaviest lifts in those countries where there's amazing technology and resources coming out of it. Japan is a key market. As I told you, we just had guests in from Japan for the past 2 weeks, really looking at our validation services and our programs with real deep knowledge. Japan, just as known as the most aged society on the planet, is a very key market for age tech and coming out of it. We talked about companies like Israel. Debbie, you're very familiar with Intuition Robotics and the LEQ robot. We did one of their first validation studies probably about 5-6 years ago at CABHI. So working with an Israeli company at CABHI, we've co-funded a number of companies with the Israel Innovation Authority, and I funded a half dozen or so Israeli companies, maybe more. And I talked about that ReadySpect, which actually moved to Canada. The UK, we had a major exchange program, sending a half dozen Canadian companies to the UK and bringing a half a dozen UK companies to Canada this past year. So there's a lot of markets that are important markets. And the US, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that, just the size, the scope, the proximity to us. So we have a lot of our trial site locations across the US and working with some of those major partners, ARP, Thrive Institute, Mary Furlong and Associates, and many, many more are a lot of key partners that we work with closely in the US. And for companies in Canada, often to be very successful in Canada, having success in the US and internationally is really important for them to grow. Canada's, about 39 million people, and the US is almost 10 times that size. So US is an important market, or access to venture capital with our US venture partners out of Silicon Valley or other places is critically important.